Let's be real here. Most, if not all of you, have definitely been told by your parents at some point to never browse the deep web. Very few of us didn't listen and installed that little anonymous browser to get ourselves involved in the investigation lineup. I say us for a reason, because I used to do bi-weekly uploads on my small horror documentary channel regarding this trend, if you can even call it that. I'd have my Tor open, randomly generating nodes to form a link, and I'd find some interesting content. Scams galore, holier-than-thou nutjobs thinking they can cure or have a solution to any big issue the world has to offer. Generic loser gore pornography. My list could go rolling out of a doorway. Something I accidentally discovered that caught my eye way too much, though, to the point where I'd periodically come back to the saved onion link just to examine it more, would have to be NickInTheDark. Man, where do I even start with this site? To get the basics out of the way, yes, it was related to Nickelodeon. The layout itself had graphics consisting of a constantly rotating green splat for its background, low-grade stickers with Nicktoons characters plastered on them for the sidebar, leading to archived feeds involving said topic, many of which had none. A website visit counter, a contact form, yada yada. But the host of the website was a whole new can of worms. He personified himself using a popsicle stick, with dollar store googly eyes and a marker line for a mouth. He called himself Stickly, and according to my research, he was, in fact, the host for a bunch of segmented shorts from Nick, back in the 80s. Very unimaginative character design, but I guess I could see why he appealed to a wide audience. The simplicity of it all. There was a small catalog, the viewer count steadily increasing every time a new clip was available. And the most recent videocast had been recorded 2 days prior to when I discovered this place. Quite surprising for a show on the dark web. Maybe the host advertised it elsewhere. Perhaps on other .onion domains? I watched one labeled Stream Number 1, NickInTheDark Q&A. This wasn't really the very first video, as there was a trailer on the homepage telling people what to expect, but it did give us a gander at how the host interacted with the audience. With a really dumb, socially awkward cartoon voice from a young adult, controlling stick in front of a computer desk, cracking stupid jokes and just generally coming off as a pleasant person overall. This level of charisma belonged on YouTube. It had me lost at first, until he answered a couple of curious watchers. Two of them were asking why this was on Tor, and why this was so boring to sit through. This made the host's puppeteering hand freeze in place, and his opposite to be pulled away from the camera, grabbing his mic. The voice went uncharacteristically monotone. I'm getting to know you first. Just wait. Voting day will come sooner than you think. The second one was called Stream Number 2. Oops, Injury Stream. The host puppeteers Stick as normal, except there is a deep bite mark sunken into his hand. From time to time, he'd put Stick down and pat himself with a piece of cloth to stop the bleeding, all the while continuing to speak with that dumb, nerdy voice about the latest Nicktoon craze. Not once did he mention the bite mark, until someone in chat brought it up. Oh, nothing much. Just a Fido S not wanting to be spayed, that's all. He then reminds the audience that to send in a vote, you can either do it by using the contact fill-in or by calling his burner phone next stream. A vote for, in his words, something to appease the hateful. Choices were between numbers 1 to 4. Third one was called Stream Number 3. Hanging around. Interactive audience games. The host had many activities for the audience to play. One involved Stick having a tiny thin string wrapped around his feet that would be slid upward the more the audience got a letter wrong. Basically a game of hangman. A burner number was included in the chat log for people to call and either give a letter or provide their vote. In between the game, one viewer rang in solely to prank the host and nothing more, calling the host petty childish names like Toothpick and Pussycat for letting a dumb pooch take advantage of him, and that his father must have been a mighty retard for raising such a failure. The host gently placed Stick down and reached off screen before bringing a notepad into view and proceeding to write the viewer's phone number in. It may be worth noting that the paper he wrote on had 4 higher net, along with a string of numbers and letters inscribed on top. He then briefly broke character before hanging up. You're so funny. The next caller told the host that everyone loved him. Odds on just doing that to kiss his ass before giving the next letter. Filled in was the unfinished word J blank S-O-N. The word was pretty obvious, but when the next viewer rang in, giggling and intentionally guessing the wrong letter, Stick was yanked away from the camera, replaced with another popsicle stick, string tied around it like the previous one, except there was a cutout taped to its top. The photo had some motion blur, but from what I could make out, a picture of a man was present. Snot, rheum, and tears raining from his face. Crusty eye gunk pinkening his scleras. Everyone in the chat roared with excitement. Fourth video was called Stream Number 4. I Hate My Sister. The host was playing Nicktoons Unite, the gameplay covering most of the screen, while his stick cam was on the top right. Propped by a miniature stand, Stick sat there immobile, as the puppeteer progressed through the second world. That is, until his sibling interrupted him, yelling, in a blend of anger and confusion.
Grayson! What the hell is this?
Why are you here? You said you'd be visiting at 7, and why do you feel the need to go through my stuff?
It was right at the door when I walked in, dumbass! I thought your house was a mess, but there were ball gags on your couch? Wigs? A dog tag?
A groan from the broadcaster, followed by his sister, shouting at him some more.
With Alex's name on it? You don't even like her! You said she was too obsessive!
The sound abruptly cut off, and the camera recording stick violently jolted, prompting his stand to fall over. I had to skim through the runtime just to see if Grayson ever came back. And he did all right. 8 minutes later, dust staining his fists a pale white. He'd typed something in chat in the midst of many confused and frustrated watchers. Taken care of, but my mood is ruined. Stay tuned for voting day tomorrow. Last video was labeled Stream Number 5. The winner. The last recording posted 48 hours before the website became unavailable. Last time I visited to gather information for the authorities, it turned out they had already found it. The homepage comprised of nothing but a "This website has been seized" tab then. And I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to find it now, even if I tried. Grayson had his camera angled differently, where it wasn't pointing directly at his desk. It faced him. Just enough to where his head went above the border. He held Stick with a tight grip, seemingly exhausted but willing. The underarms and neck of his shirt were soaked in his moisture. Whenever he spoke up, he had to take deep breaths per sentence. Well, that was a long contest, wasn't it? It took a lot of hammer and nail to prepare, but I've heard the poll loud and clear. Time for a whammy, everyone. Standing up, 4 tall boxes were revealed behind him, each having a number drawn on its base with a thick, permanent marker. Grayson reveals to the audience by pulling a card out of his pocket that number 3 achieved 18 votes on the ballot. A box cutter whips out from his pants, and he clicks his tongue to make a drum roll beat, tearing the cardboard as slowly as he could to build up the tension. Inside contained an unconscious woman, mummified in an airless, tight garbage bag, blindfolded and plugged in the mouth with a red rubber ball. She wore accessories that bore a familiar resemblance to a certain cartoon character. Violet glasses and a pigtailed wig. Grayson pulled one more object into view. A dog collar with someone's name engraved on its tag. That monotone delivery came back. Ready to see Al Tootie get her just desserts.
Jeez, what's the matter? You can't sleep? Good. Stay tuned, pal. You're watching LaFondaPasta.